You walk into the bank on a quiet weekday morning. Nothing seems unusual. The smell of fresh coffee from the small cafe outside mixes with the faint scent of paper and ink. The door chime rings. You step inside. The floor is polished. The fluorescent lights hum softly above you. There are only a few people. A teller counting money behind the counter. A man in a suit flipping through forms. A woman staring at her phone. You move toward the counter. Your steps sound louder than usual. The silence feels heavy. There is a subtle tension you cannot explain. You shake your head. It is probably nothing, just your imagination. You breathe slowly, take in the air, notice the clock ticking. You deposit the check. Say hello to the teller. She smiles politely. Everything seems normal. Then you hear Ida's sudden crash, glass breaking, metal clanging. A loud shout. Everyone freezes. Your stomach drops. Your heart pounds. You turn slowly and see it. Masked figures in dark clothing shouting orders. People scream. The air changes instantly, is thicker, harder to breathe. Fear hits like a tidal wave. You drop to the floor, instincts taking over. You press your hands against the cold tile. Your cheek touches the floor. You hear a child cry softly, someone praying aloud. Your own breath is loud. You try to slow it, but it is useless. The world has shrunkenly. Chaos exists. One of the masked figures moves across the room, shouts at someone, yelling anger or panic. You cannot tell. You lie still, observing, studying, looking for a moment. A chance. Time feels warped. Minutes stretch. Every second is heavy. Every breath counts. You see people trying to hide. A man under a table, a woman behind a chair, someone crawling toward the exit. You notice a gap, small but possible, behind the teller counter. A staff corridor, dim, narrow, hidden. You memorize. I could be your only way out. The masked figures are shouting at each other. You catch words, threats, instructions. Fear rises again, but determination grows. Your body is tense, ready, waiting. Then you hear something different outside. Day siren, distant, growing louder. Masked figures react. They are not prepared for this. Panic appears for the first time. A chance. You notice one of them turning toward the back, watching you. Wait, counting 3 to 1. You slide along the floor, silent, controlled, every muscle taut to reach the counter. No one notices. You move behind it into the staff corridor. Hands are shaking, heart racing, cold sweat. You glance back. They are still occupied. Do take a deep breath. Step carefully. The corridor stretches ahead. Fluorescent lights flicker. Emergency exit door at the end. You move closer. Every sound amplified. Every step deliberate. Footsteps behind you. You freeze. Hold your breath. No one comes down the corridor. You move again, step by step. The door is near. Your hand reaches for the handle. The alarm screams shrill. Violent to push the door. Burst of cold air. You run. Adrenaline floods your body. Police officers rush toward you. Commands shouted. Hands up. Do not shoot. To drop to your knees, trembling, breathing hard, tears streaming. You survive, but the chaos continues. Behind, youth sirens shouting. Lights all fades slightly. You sit on the pavement, heart pounding, watching the bank. Your mind racing, thinking of how fragile life is and how quickly it can change. You survived, but something inside you has changed. Stronger, more aware, more alive. Asterisk, asterisk. You sit on the pavement. The night air is cold. Your knees pressed to your chest. The flashing red and blue lights paint everything in harsh colors. You can hear shouting from inside the bank. Negotiations, screams, the chaotic pulse of fire. Your chest still feels tight. To cannot believe you are alive, and yet too are. Your mind races. Every possible scenario runs like a movie. You think of what could have happened, what almost happened, and Shiver, but survival is your focus now. You look around, other people have emerged, some crying, some shaking, some holding each other. You notice a young man face, pale hands trembling. He looks at you, you nod slightly, silent acknowledgement. You survive, so have they. Police officer approaches, his face serious but calm. He gestures for you to come closer. You obey, heart still racing, adrenaline still sharp. You are guided behind a patrol car away from the chaos. The sounds of negotiation continue. Your mind cannot process it all. You close your eyes, try to slow your breathing. Inhalex. Remember the corridor, the cold tile, the way you moved, step by step, the mask of control you forced on yourself. Every second counter, every breath was a decision. You survived because you acted, because you did not freeze. You realize now fear is paralyzing, but it can also sharpen instincts. You glance back at the bank. The masked figures are still inside, shouting at each other, gesturing tense. You feel a strange mix of relief and anxiety. Relief for yourself, anxiety for those left behind. You were frozen in terror, but you moved. You wonder about the others. Did they survive? Were they safe? A woman walks past you, crying softly. Child clings to her side. You remember the child inside the bank. Her soft cries echo in your mind, the images of fear, desperation, and chaos replay. But you cannot dwell too long. Adrenaline is fading. Reality seeps in. You survived, and now you must process it too. Are alive, and that is enough for now. A detective approaches. He asks questions. You answer as calmly as you can, your voice still trembling. He nods, takes notes. You notice him looking toward the bank, his expression hard, determined. You realize the situation is far from over. The masked figures have a plan, or at least a desperate improvisation, and they are trapped with the law closing in. You shiver. You can still hear shouting footsteps inside the bank, doors slamming, objects falling. You close your eyes, trying to focus on your own breathing, but your mind is racing. Every sound becomes amplified. A door slams behind you. You startle, hands shaking. A young officer places a hand on your shoulder, is grounding, a reminder you are alive, you are safe for now. You remember the narrow corridor, the strategic steps you took, how close they were, how close death was. You never imagined being in such a situation. You never thought you would feel fear like this. You never thought you would fight with only instincts. But here you are. You survived. Your mind races with gratitude, relief, shock. Shake your head, trying to process the trauma. You take slow steps, follow the officers away from the bank. The world feels different now. You notice the sirens fade slightly. The chaos is still there, but you are removed from it, safe for the first time in what feels like hours. You realize survival is not just about escaping, it is about living through the fear, embracing it, moving despite it. You glance at the other civilians, some shaking, some crying, some hugging each other. You nod to them, silent acknowledgement. We survived. The police move with precision, guiding people to safety. You feel small, insignificant, but alive, and that is all that matters. You sit on the curb, hands trembling, tears streaming, breathing hard. The adrenaline slowly fades. Your mind replays every detail, every sound, every movement, every choice. You understand no fear can be overcome by courage, by instincts, by action, not by hiding. You survived, and that is your victory. The city lights glimmer in the distance. The sirens fade, the shouting inside the bank fades, but your heart still races. You survived, and that changes everything. Asterisk, asterisk. You are sitting on the curb. The cold pavement presses against your legs. Your hands are still trembling. The city noise seems distant, sirens fade, but echoes remain in your chest. Sure, eyes keep drifting back toward the bank. You cannot stop thinking about the people left inside, the hostages, the masked figures, the chaos you just escaped. You remember the first scream, the glass breaking, the air changing, the way fear weighed on everyone. Your mind replays every detail, every second stretched here. Stomach twists, you breathe shallowly, trying to calm yourself, but the adrenaline is still thick in your veins. A police officer kneels beside you. Asks if you are okay. You nod slowly. Words feel heavy. You cannot speak clearly, yet the officer gestures to the street. Their civilians are being guided away. You notice a man holding a young boy. The boy clings to his father's arm. Eyes why do you remember that child inside the bank? The soft crying, the helplessness. Your chest tightens. You can almost feel the fear. Again you shake your head, trying to push it away. Focus on the now, focus on surviving. You glance around. The scene is surreal. Flashing lights, officers shouting orders, people moving quickly. The masked figures are still inside. You imagine their frustration, their panic, their fear. Now the sirens outside grow louder. Again you realize the SWAT team is approaching. The tension inside must be unbearably. Close your eyes, your breathing slows. You think about the steps you took, sliding across the floor, keeping your body low, watching patterns, waiting for the right moment. Instinct guiding every movement. You survived because you noticed, because you acted, because you did not freeze. You remember the corridor, the emergency exit, the cold air hitting your face. Freedom just steps away. You run, you survive. You sit now on the curb, your body trembling, heart racing but alive, and that is everything. You glance back once more. The bank stands there silent now, but chaos remains within. You breathe deeply. Inhale, exhale. The world feels different, fragile, precious. Survived and nothing else matters.